Hi everyone and welcome along. Today we're looking at two cinemas in Ipswich in Suffolk that once entertained the people with all the big screen action available, but one of them was destroyed by fire and the other is still standing under a different guise. Pool's Picture Palace was situated at 11 Tower Street in Ipswich, Suffolk. The lecture hall of the Ipswich Institute had hosted Pool's dioramas and murioramas from before 1900. Bioscope shows were included from around 1903. Bioscope magazine, in its issue dated 11th of March 1909, reported that Pool's were taking a long lease at the Institute and were renaming it Pool's Picture Palace. It opened on 9th of March 1909 as the town's first cinema. In 1914, Messrs C.W. and J.R. Pool were running it from their head office way up there in Gloucester. By 1922, the programme was being changed every Monday and Thursday. The seats were approximately split between stalls, 250, and a small balcony seating 150. Picture tone sound was introduced when the talkies arrived. The cinema ran on for another 10 years, closing on the 20th of January 1940. In October 1947, the building was reopened as a live venue, the Ipswich Arts Theatre. Later it was leased as a Pentecostal church. By 1993 it was being used as the theatrical rehearsal rooms of the Wolsey Theatre. And then, more recently, in fact by 2003, it was acquired by the Green King Brewery of Bury St Edmunds. They completely refurbished it, restoring it sympathetically to reflect its cinematic past. But now it was a public house, the Rep, offering food, drink and live music. And it's nice to say that the Rep continues to be a popular destination for many people who will admire its picturesque interior. OK, next up it's the turn of the Central Cinema in Princess Street, Ipswich. It opened on Monday the 7th of February 1915 with the military drama Defenders of Our Empire. It was designed to the plans of architect Francis B. Ward and built for F. H. Cooper and Company, and it seated 750 people. While researching, I found this small article concerning a fire at the Central in a newspaper called The Era, dated Wednesday 8th of October 1919, detailing a fire that happened on the 30th of... the month is a little vague, which although bad enough, the cinema only ended up closing for a few weeks. In 1929, when the Central Cinema was in the ownership of Eastern Counties Cinemas Limited, a Western electric sound system was installed. The first talkie was the Broadway Melody, starring Bessie Love and Anita Page. By 1935, ownership had passed to Farrar Cinemas Limited, then in 1937 to Owen Cooper Theatres. Then, on the evening of the 23rd of February 1950, while changing over from the Dolly Sisters starring Betty Grable to the supporting feature called Northside 77 starring James Stewart, projectionist Mr. Driscoll saw flames leaping across the roof from a blaze at the adjoining premises of Haddock and Baines. All 300 members of the audience were successfully evacuated, albeit some of them were reluctant to leave, according to the manager Mr. J. H. Barker, which is just as well they did all get out, as the fire spread quickly and the cinema's roof totally collapsed at about 7 p.m. The fire brigade had to tackle the fire with Second World War tenders with trailer pumps. The newspaper caption said, although it was 777, they had to call 999. The theatre stood derelict and its remains were removed a few years later, with only the frontage remaining. Posters outside continued to advertise the film for some years after, and for a laugh, sometimes on a Sunday afternoon, some older kids would form a small queue outside the Central, and earnest passers-by would stop to inform them that the cinema wasn't there. There was nothing behind the facade, a fact, of course, that the kids knew full well. There was talk in 1956 of the cinema being rebuilt, but this never happened, and the site was redeveloped. That's about it for this one. Next up, it's the turn of the Regal in Wymondham in Norfolk, and what a history this cinema has. Don't miss that one. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to, and leave a comment below too. That'd be great. Till next time, all I always say is be good to each other. Ta-da.